So if you've been around, like, from like pretty much the start of my channel late last year, then you'd know that like my first video was a video on the Halo Combat Evolved remake, Halo Campaign Evolved. And you'd also know that I had some opinions, but most of them were just kind of like small criticisms or like, you know. My main problem was actually with the people, the Halo community itself, the way it just imploded when the game was announced. Now all you've got to see this is Hidden Xperia's video on it. And when you watch his reaction to it getting revealed at the World Championships, you can just see him getting more and more and more upset as the video goes on. And then after that, he made an actual video discussing it once he got back to England. And, you know, it's all things that we've all heard 150 million times since it got announced. The assault rifle's ammo counter isn't right. The Forerunner architecture isn't dirty enough. The fucking sand is the wrong color. You know, any number of things. Like, I've seen people complain about the rocks that they put there for cover, because it takes away from that like storming the beaches feeling, because they've got cover. Which, okay, whatever, bro. But one of the stupidest things that I heard was that the reload for the assault rifle wasn't the same as it was back in Halo 1. The animation for the reload for the assault rifle wasn't the same as it was back in Halo 1. But all these little nitpicks that I've seen towards this game has just taken me out of the Halo community. Like, a community that I love, by the way. I love Halo. I love the people around Halo. Well, some of them. Alright, not all of them. But, you know, I do love Halo. Halo 3 is my favorite game in the series. Halo 4 was my first game. Alright, I know, I'm a youngin'. I was born in 2007. But I can understand what's wrong with the 343 games, alright? I don't think Halo Infinite and Halo 4 were really as bad as, you know, some people make them out to be. I know that they're bad, you know, but I don't think that they were that bad. Alright, a lot of people like to imagine that Halo 4 was like the worst thing to happen to Halo like ever, and then Halo 5 comes along and you realize, oh man, maybe it wasn't that bad. Every Halo game has its issues. You know, Halo 1's difficulty curve was like, it can just get insane sometimes and really turn new players off. I think that's a lot of the reason why they've been rebalancing the Halo 1 remake. And, you know, Halo 2, that story just... it's a really good story, but sometimes it feels like it just goes on. And, you know, the fact that you don't really get to fight any humans as the Arbiter doesn't really, like, help you sympathize with the Covenant. Like, Arbiter's inclusion was really meant to. Halo 3, you know, that's got, like, pacing issues all over the place. You know, a lot of the times it feels more like a sandbox than an actual story. You know, Halo Reach, you know, the characters die too quickly, you can't connect with them. Halo 3 ODST, it's probably like the perfect Halo game, because it's just straightforward, everything's just going. It's not like Halo Reach where you don't have time to connect with the characters, because you actually get to play as the characters, so you can connect with them that way. But what I'm saying is every Halo game has its issues, but Halo 4, Halo 5, and Halo Infinite have a lot of issues, way above the rest. And it's these issues with Halo 4, 5, and Infinite which have led to this growing hatred for a game that isn't even out yet. People haven't even given this game a chance before they go and spit all over it. And like I said, that's just really taken me out of Halo because as a community, because it feels like they're trying to figure out like the tiniest little things to nitpick because they just want to have something to be angry at. And either they can't find that in their own lives, or they can't let go of this hatred that they have for a company that technically doesn't exist anymore. I know that like most of the people who worked at 343 now work at Halo Studios, but regardless of that, the leadership is different. Bonnie Ross is gone, okay? We haven't given this new studio a chance to actually prove themselves, because A, they haven't made a new game, but also B, because everyone's just immediately assuming the worst. Which, you know, I understand like the distrust that people have towards this studio, and I share this distrust, and I get it, because Halo Studios has wronged us so many times in the past with these games, and I get it, but it's not the developers' fault, right? The developers are the ones that are still there, right? The leadership has changed, right? It's the leadership's fault, okay? It's Bonnie Ross, it's the people from Microsoft, it's fucking Bill Gates, alright? All this stuff is their fault. They're the ones who call the shots, they're the ones who write the paychecks, they're the ones who do everything. Microsoft only cares about money. They don't care about the fans, they don't care about the consumer, as much as the corporate higher-ups and the spokespeople and Bill Gates or whoever the fuck runs Microsoft now would like you to believe. They don't give a shit about you. All they care about is their money and how many new fucking cars they can get and how many private planes they can take in a year and all this other shit. They don't care about anything other than their money and their bottom line and how many fucking slaves they can have out in the Congo and all this shit. They don't give a fuck, okay?
It's that difficult to play somebody online. What the fuck is you doing, Bill Gates? Fix your shit, man.
Now, circling back to my original point for this video, away from the Johnny Silverhand stuff, all of this hatred has just left me so bored with Halo. Right, I don't play it as much because, you know, I played the games that much that I was already getting kind of bored with them, but I still love them, alright? But I don't watch Halo stuff on YouTube except for Willie Arso's quiz, because that's funny, but, you know, I don't really watch Hidden Xperia that much anymore. I don't watch, you know, all these other people because they're so negative all the time, right? And I know that this stuff is bad, but I'm just so sick of being angry at these companies and all this stuff all the time for the tiniest little things. And this isn't new. This started for me back when Halo, like, Campaign Evolved got announced, and I was watching Hidden Xperia's video, and like I said, you can just see him getting more and more and more upset and just saying, nah, I don't like that, nah, that's not good. And I was just thinking, what's the point? Why are you so angry at these tiny little things in a game that's remaking a game from over 20 years ago? And I hate to say it, this is one of my least favorite terms. I hate people who say this, but they are genuinely blinded by nostalgia. That's the only explanation I can come up with it. They want all these things to be the same, to be exactly like it was back in 2001, because they want it to be 2001 again. Alright, and I understand 2001 was a lot better than 2026, alright, with those... I wasn't around, alright, I know something happened that wasn't too great, but that time period was probably when we were at our best as a species, because we weren't really, you know, doing the stuff that we're doing now, which, yeah, that's, yeah, we might be a little doomed, but anyway, my point is that these people want to go back to that time when life was simpler, you know, there just wasn't all this stuff going on. And I understand that. I would love to go back to the 2010s, alright? That was like That's when I was like, at my best. That was when I was like, like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That was a good time. But we just can't. And these games have to adapt for a modern audience. All these people in these videos about Halo Campaign Evolved are saying, "Oh, I can't wait for the new audience coming to Halo, blah blah blah, But I wish they made it, more like faithful to the original, so that they could experience it the way we experienced it." The thing is, they can't experience it the way we experienced it, because number one, they weren't around in 2001. Neither was I. The first time I played Halo 1 was the Anniversary Edition. I know, bad. That is a genuinely bad remaster. But they can't experience it the way that you experienced it back in 2001, because it's not 2001. And gaming just isn't the same as it was back then, alright? There's more people playing games now. They want games that are faster paced. They want games that will hold their attention. A lot of these people now, they come from games like, God of War or Fortnite or, all these like fast paced action games where everything's always crazy and something's going on and it's moving fast. But that's not what it's like now. Alright, that's not what it was like back then. Okay, Halo Combat Evolved was a product of its time. Alright, I'm not saying it's bad. It's a genuinely great game, and I do love it. It's a really good game. But there's a but. That's not what games are like now. That's not what people enjoy now. And I wish it was. I wish people could enjoy those games the way they did now. But these people aren't dedicated fans who are going to walk down a massive corridor. They're not going to sit through the library for, half an hour because they love the games as much as we do. Alright? They've got to change this stuff for the modern audience. And I would love if people could experience these games the way that we experienced them when they came out. I keep saying we, even though I was born when Halo 3 came out, alright? The thing is, I don't think a modern audience would enjoy Halo 1 Sandbox as much as they will Halo Campaign Evolved. I mean, like, the whole thing with adding new weapons, I think that's a great idea. I really do, because Halo 1's Sandbox was like, I think, it was like 8 or 9 weapons between like the entirety of everything, and by like the silent cartographer, you've probably used most of them, of the ones you can use. But people aren't going to take 9 weapons like they did back in 2001, because they're working on an original Xbox, and that's just what you expected back then. Because now they expect more than that. They expect hundreds and hundreds of weapons in a game, and all this different stuff and all this stuff. Halo Infinite has spoiled people. Like all the massive sandbox that game has spoiled people. And that's not a bad thing. It's just showing that we have innovated with these games. And with these new weapons being added, they have to balance the already existing weapons. Hence why we're not getting the 60-round assault rifle that we had back then, because I'm pretty sure they're adding the SMG. And on top of that, they're adding 8 other weapons. Alright, the SMG isn't actually confirmed, but it is probably going to be added, because they are adding 9 weapons in total, which that's a lot. They're basically doubling the amount of already existing weapons in the sandbox, not including grenades. Alright. And with all this, I'm not saying that you just have to take everything that Halo Studios fists into your mouth lying down. No, of course, if they added the fucking scatter shot from Halo 4, then, that wouldn't be cool. But, adding these weapons, that the needle rifle and the battle rifle and all that, adding that kind of stuff, that's good. I think Halo Studios deserves some props for that. And I know each weapon has a role to fill, alright? but those roles are a product of the game being in 2001. Like, with Doom, every weapon had its role, right? But now, in more modern games, weapons are less like like covering one entire area of the sandbox in modern games, and more like filling in just this specific kind of niche. Alright, you've got precision weapons, you've got like rifles, you've got all these different things that are... Gaming isn't simple anymore, right? People expect complexity from games. And when these games aren't complex, people get bored with them. Alright, I've seen people just put down Halo 1 because they got bored with it. Alright? Our willingness to replay these games over and over again comes from a place of love, not from, an interest in wanting to experience the games for the first time. Alright, and I think Halo Studios has seen that, so they want to change Halo 1 to be more approachable for a newer audience the first time around. I can't stand Halo 1's multiplayer, because the pistol dominates the entire sandbox, alright? And they can't let that happen again with the Halo Remake. They just can't let that happen again, which is probably why they haven't done multiplayer for the game. But also, just making one gun dominate the entire thing, it's boring, alright? That's why I always pick up a different gun every now and then whenever I replay this game, because it's just so boring only using the pistol and then like trying to find just the next best thing when you don't have access to the pistol, like in Truth and Reconciliation. I am genuinely excited about this remake because, number one, it's the first Halo game we've had in years, right? And number two, it marks an actual new start for the Halo as a franchise. Not like the little UE5 promo video that they put out in 2024 or 2023 or whenever the hell that was. I'm just glad that we finally have something. Alright, we finally have some news about these games that isn't just, oh yeah, well, they updated the shop in Halo Infinite, and they added a mode from Halo 3 that was there at launch, and I'm just so sick of being cynical all the time of all these different things. But anyway, that's just something I wanted to talk about. I know I rambled a lot in this video, so if you just somehow made it to the end through my incessant just talking, I really appreciate it. And if you like the video, then you should comment. But if you didn't like the video, then I will find you, because who wouldn't like my video? I'm just kidding, of course. If you didn't like the video, you should still comment anyway. But I will find you. But yeah, if you want to, you should subscribe. If you don't want to, whatever, I don't care. Like the video, all that crap. Yeah. I will see you all later. Bye.